text just gone to us. Oh, it's the old one.
Wagwan. I say Wagwan because you got Jamaican accusations for being late, but we wasn't late. We put it 10 past in it. I'm pretty sure it's not 10 past yet.
I've been sitting here half an hour now.
And I think half the reason why we're late is because United are in that kind of midweeky period where none of the United football discourse is that entertaining or that good to look forward to. Is it that?
Also, you're on the back of 2 disappointing results. Even if one of the performances was good, the results have been poor.
Yes. And this has been a discussion online as well. It's United without... United can be quite toxic in terms of online discourse anyway. It is a huge club. But when you've got no European football this season with how it's already gone...
It's going to be a bit reactionary.
I think not necessarily... It's more like there's not enough games in midweek to kind of like shorten the longed out discourse of after United have had a poor result or a bad performance.
And we've actually got a game tomorrow.
Yes, we have a game, but we won't always have one.
No, and that's going to be a proper anomaly.
The lose-lose match, basically.
It is the lose-lose match. I was debating titling the preview lose-lose. Don't know if we will though.
Because...
Well, you lose and
there's nothing that Amorim can gain from tomorrow. That's unfortunate.
No, there is. There's only one thing that he can gain. He can debut an academy player and they're sick, but that's it. Yeah. Outside of that, that's it.
It's one of those games for Amorim where if he wins, everyone's like, it's Grimsby, should have won anyway.
Yeah, shut up.
But if we lose, it's like.
I'm not getting up Thursday morning to do a 5 a.m. walk. You know, if we lose on Wednesday night, I'll tell you that for free. That's gonna blow, honestly. Mate.
But exactly. But I think a lot of what's happened now is it was because we're obviously talking about the Mainoo situation. It links in with Bruno. There's obviously some news around Garnacho and Anthony we could speak about today as well. But there's become a little bit of a divide and almost a fan base civil war over this whole Kobbie, Mainoo, Amorim fiasco, where after the first game, everyone was like, how's Mainoo not getting any minutes? Because Ugarte came on, didn't have a bad cameo, and obviously he didn't cover himself in glory in some of his pre-season games. And we thought, and then everyone was like, it's just been one match. Why are you overreacting? So then the second game comes around and he again doesn't get any time or any minutes. So then everyone's gone, nah, something's up here. Then obviously Amorim's come out and said he's behind Bruno, and then you're thinking that's very interesting particular wording if you read into it, because we know Bruno never doesn't play or never doesn't get subbed. So what does that mean?
Yep.
And now you've had reports come out today where Kobbie Mainoo would consider going elsewhere, and Ornstein has said he's found himself quite a bit down Amorim's pecking order in terms of the midfielders. And obviously with United fans and their affinity for academy players, it's kind of the culture and what we build upon, but also the other side of people like to back the manager a lot here as well. You've got this crazy division going on.
There's more than that at play, I would argue as well, because you've got the whole, I think you've probably got 4 storylines at play, right? Let me get all 4 out. You've got 1, people don't like the manager's formation.
Mainoo's the new Rashford. What does that mean?
What?
Mainoo's the new Rashford.
I don't know what that means.
Insert Sol Campbell meme. Anyway, go on.
So I think you've got 4 storylines. 1, people aren't enjoying the manager's formation. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, the academy record and our absolute lack of possible starters, let alone probable starters. You're looking at him and Tyler Fredrickson, pretty much it. Or if Tom Eaton gets a run out.
Cheeto?
He's not an academy player. He's not.
Because he's brought in. He's the same way that Real that scored yesterday. He's not really.
I think he's probably closer to one, because I think he did spend some time in Liverpool's academy.
They've just signed him though recently, like within the last year.
From Chelsea. I thought it was 2 years ago.
Nah, it's from Chelsea. So everyone's.
But he was 14 when he signed, wasn't he? That feels different to already signing a 16-year-old.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, and how old was Evan? Was Evan 18?
Yes,
that's not.
That was Aiden Evan was that was the first team signing. Cheeto is more in line with the real.
Cheeto signed at 16 and has 17, and has played in our academy. So, I mean, if we have to force that issue, we will. But like for me, he ain't.
I think it should be.
Arsenal.
I think it should be if you sign him pre them signing a professional contract.
Or
maybe
pro. Yeah.
Yes.
Or making a debut. Yeah, I think that maybe that's fair. But either way, he doesn't feel like a proper organic homegrown player to me. So you've got the academy record being in massive danger and people are flapping about that. Then you've got, so that's 1 and 2. Number 3 is you've got Bruno and Saudi. He's behind Bruno, and there's a lot of talk circling that El Ittihad want to sign Bruno. So you got people thinking, cash in on Bruno. Bruno doesn't really fit any system. Some people don't like him as a captain. Some people don't, think he's mad overrated. So you've got that as a third issue. And then the fourth issue is, linked to the third issue, if you sold Bruno, you might have the money to bring in Baleba. And obviously with Mainoo being behind Bruno, you might see Mainoo start and fix the other midfield problem that you've got as well with Baleba. So I think those 4 issues are driving all of this narrative into what it's a 20-year-old player that's behind the club captain. I don't think it's that big a deal. However, it seems like it's become a big deal.
So you think him, because he's a 20-year-old behind the club captain, the 2 games, no minutes, isn't a big deal? I actually don't agree with that, and the reason why I don't is because we can't pretend that Kobbie Mainoo is, he's 20-year-old. We can't pretend he's some under-18 21s player that's just broke into the team a month ago. That's not his placing within the squad. He's been a first-team player for pretty much 2 seasons now, and been involved in important games, started games consistently, and had really good performances. Started for his country up until the Euros final. So I think people are hiding behind the guys of, he's just 20, so it doesn't really matter. He's a young player. So him play 2 games. I feel like no minutes at all. With his kind of place in the squads, I don't think it can be just. I don't think it's a nothing thing. I think generally
I'm not saying it's not nothing, but I'm saying it's someone that's behind the captain, and if he's behind the captain, you can make the case that Bruno probably should have come off, especially after he missed his penalty. He did not play well after that, and I think he got in his own head and played a little bit selfishly. I think 0 minutes is a mistake. I don't think it's the end of the world. And I would expect it's probably getting rectified this week. He might have already been earmarked for 90 minutes tomorrow night. And maybe that was why he didn't feature at the weekend.
But being earmarked only for midweek games against League 2 opposition, where if he plays 90 minutes, he's definitely probably more than likely not going to get much minutes on the weekend in the Premier League. It's not a great omen.
I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm just saying that might be the reason. And I think Amorim's made a couple of mistakes. Like, I think he actually comes across quite well in his press conferences, but I think I mentioned this with Joe before, in the video that's probably going to come out later. When asked about the Onana situation, if Amorim had come out and said he ain't match fit yet, it's not a problem, I don't think anyone would have been like, whoa, what's going on here? I think everyone would have just listened to that and gone, yeah, of course he's not involved in any games, blah blah blah. But when he goes, I've chose not to select him, now you've got an issue. Now the spotlight shifts onto Bayindir a little bit. Oh, are you taking his place? You better be good. You're no longer the backup that's filling in while he gets match fit. You're now, the gaffer's picked you because he thinks you're better than him. Spotlight's on you. And then he doubled down on it ahead of the second game, and you've had a keeper nearly throwing it in his own net. I think he probably could have been cuter, smarter, with some of his communication to the press and to the fans about what's going on with some of these players. He could have said, do you know what? I should have got Mainoo on. Or, I don't know if he was asked directly. You brought Ugarte on in 2 games. It's not actually resulted in us managing to either keep hold of a lead or getting back into a game. Is there a reason that you chose Ugarte over Mainoo? Ask him word a question a little bit differently to him. Why? What is it about Mainoo that you've not given him a single minute in these games? Why 2 centre? And I know he loves a centre half sub. I don't understand why. I'll be honest with you. Why Harry Maguire, Aiden Heaven, and not Mainoo in that? What was your thinking as the manager in that game, bringing on 2 centre halves for injury time over maybe a player that might have been able to maybe impact the game going forward? Or even Joshua Zirkzee.
And you know what's funny? Because over this course of the 180 minutes we've seen against Arsenal, Fulham, we've pretty much seen every single game state possible. Do Do you know what I mean? So you can't do the excuses.
Winning, losing,
the game wasn't really set up for Mainoo because of this. Over the course of the 180 minutes,
playing against a low block, playing on the counter.
There's been every possible scenario has happened in terms of how a game could be laid out. So it is just a situation, as Ornstein said, where it's quite obvious that he's not rated him, and then people are trying to like bend over backwards to excuse Amorim, saying it's just it's only been 2 games, and there's also all those excuses. It's not. It's just obvious. Like, managers have systems, and they have players who they prefer and players that they rate, and he's obviously worked out over the course that he's been here. Maybe from some of Mainoo's performances last season as well, where he thinks what he requires in that midfield suits him. He feels like Mainoo doesn't have enough of the qualities that he wants in there, probably out when it comes to athleticism and physicality or whatever. Fair enough. That just might be his opinion. But
especially when you're seeing Casemiro played.
Exactly, but I just don't agree with that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he's a much better player than that. And I think in this current iteration of United, which is probably one of the worst that we've ever seen, a player of Kobbie Mainoo's ability, not being able to get any minutes in the first 2 games, I think that's very damning. And I feel like it's... And you know what's also... The elephant in the room is we're not winning enough games, and we haven't won enough games under Amorim. So it's one of them where if we was, and he was making these decisions, would we complain as much?
It quietens down a lot of criticism.
Yes, exactly.
Everything that you do when you lose is up for debate.
Yeah.
Why is there no Joshua Zirkzee? Why is Mason Mount still playing? Why haven't you started Sesko? Why has Mainoo not got a single minute? What's going on with Onana? Why haven't you tried him? Why are you bringing Harry Maguire on? Why is Luke Shaw playing? Blah, 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 blah. Why is Bruno playing in the 6? Why is he pressing like a lunatic all the time? If you win both of those games, you're top of the league, haven't conceded a goal.
It's funny you said that. Have you seen that?
Nobody says.
Do you actually think that about Bruno and his out of possession stuff? Because I saw an analysis on social media a couple days ago about Bruno's like over eagerness and overzealousness and the lack of discipline he plays with positionally when he plays in that midfield too. Looks good from an optics standpoint of him being his work rate and running about, but it actually doesn't help the team structurally. Yeah. I think his heat map in both games, I think there's not a blade of grass that Bruno didn't cover. And when you look at it on the face of things, you're like, oh, workhorse, brilliant, all action. But then sometimes do you need that little bit of discipline to play in that position he's playing in?
Michael Carrick didn't cover every blade of grass.
Exactly.
But he was phenomenal at what he did.
See, that's something you've noticed then about it, Bruno, in terms of when you
I mean, I know Dexter's gone upstairs now. We've got Deji on the 1s and 2s. But there's a video I've been thinking about doing this week, which is using our After Effects template that we've got to show what happens. And if you go back to that West Ham game, it wasn't Bruno in that game. I'm pretty sure it was Mainoo and Ugarte that both pressed at the same time. Those two press... You get a line-breaking pass which splits the pair of them, goes right through the middle of them, and I think it's like a 3v3 or a 4v3, something like that, against our back line. And the second that midfield is bypassed with a pass, the defence dropped off 5 yards. And I think that's wrong. I mean, I'm not saying I know better than Amorim. I'm just saying, to me, it looks wrong. I think if you're going to have a midfield that presses, I think the defence has to play the offside trap a little bit. I think it has to be mad aggressive. I don't think you can drop.
One centre-back step in as well.
Yes, but I would still also just have like a mad aggressive line, because I think if you've got all of your attacking 5 in and around the edge of the box, you lose the ball just outside the box, you have 2 players go and press towards the edge of the box, and your defensive line is on the halfway line and drops 5 yards, that's a 40-yard gap. That's too big. You've got to slow them down a little bit. Now, you either slow that down by having a really, really aggressive line and trying to defend that space in behind you with like aggression on the halfway line, or you have to fill in that gap with your midfield, which means don't press mid-block or delay or do something. You can't just do that. Like, you can't. And I mentioned it this morning. We're not conceding goals by doing that. So maybe I'm wrong, and actually that's working, but it feels like we're very easy to play against. It feels like people are getting in against our back 3, and it's only like a little bit of magic last man tackle from De Ligt or Yoro, which is preventing shots and goals happening in that transition. You know, we're conceding from crosses. I said corners at the weekend.
Yeah, we're not.
I say a lot of words.
We're not very good from set pieces defensively, which is actually in this league is a major concern for the season going forward. And also, I agree, we might not concede a lot of big chances, and I think that's just basically a staple of having a back five. Just got a lot of players defensively, but what happens is the back five, I think, allows the opposition to gain a lot of territory quite often. And then what happens is they get into I think teams get into our final third very easily, but then we have good enough defenders to defend the last line when you've got obviously a line of five. But then,
6, it looks like a 6.
Or 6 sometimes, but I still think it would be better if United wouldn't allow them situations, because then all it needs is a little bit of quality, like you get from a Wolby and Emil Smith-Rowe, and they cut you open, or if they end up getting something in final third and getting a corner, we're not very good defending those. But
or you look at that West Ham goal again, a little bit of someone not doing their job 1v1 like Aidan Heaven didn't against Bowen, and you get the shot off easy. You've got to be mega 1v1, and we're getting away with it
so
because Delict is, Delict is and Euro is, but you've got to be so on it. If to play 1v1 as a defender that's risky.
It is risky.
That's chasing a game risky, and you can't go into every game at 0-0 first minute going, "Wait, let's have it 1v1, man." You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially where we're at as well, but. I don't know what the fallout's going to be of this. I don't see a scenario where Kobbie Mainoo does leave, just because it's late in the window and he won't have enough suitors, especially for the evaluation that United are going to expect. So I just think it's going to be a World Cup year of a lot of frustration, and this might be a situation revisited in January.
The World Cup year is a big point, actually. But there was something I was thinking of when you was talking about it earlier, that I wonder, because not everything is as it seems. Not everything is on the surface. Like the manager doesn't rate him or does rate him, or he's in this pecking order or that pecking order. We know sometimes that there's politics involved with players. Do you think his contract situation is... we know sometimes that players get debuts for signing a contract, or they get opportunities as they're trying to convince them to sign a contract. Do you think there's a chance he's getting denied opportunities to make him sign his contract?
That's definitely a possibility. That stuff does happen in football a lot. I actually thought this morning that was my only copium, that this almost freezing out that's happening to Kobbie Mainoo might be coming from above Amorim, in terms of the politics in football clubs and PR spin, in terms of basically to pressure Mainoo into signing a new contract, probably at terms that suits the club a little bit more, and he's almost getting forced into it by, if you're not going to play as much if you don't. That actually does happen. That type of thing happens at football clubs a lot of the time. You'd be surprised to know some of the influence that the boardroom and stuff above the manager have on team selection and players that can't play. And sometimes it even goes to the fact, if the club brings in a player that's for 18.5 million, the manager's not really having him, and he looks poor in training, and he looks like an overpay. Don't for a minute think the manager doesn't have pressure to still play that player. Yeah. So it definitely does factor in.
And there can be levels of that as well, can't there? There can be. I wonder how many times at United do you reckon in the last 10 years has the manager got the team sheet and there's 1 or 2 names already on it before he puts it on it? And there can be direct influence from a director of football or a CEO that's like, here's this situation, he needs to play. That's it, or he needs to start. And then you've got the sort of the nod and a wink sort of pressure, the board are visiting the dressing room where the team's out warming up and going, "You're not playing your new 60 million signing." And then they ask that a few times, and the next time you go and ask them for a new signing,
that's exactly what happens. So £60 million signing money you invested in somewhere, why is he not playing? I don't really fancy him. Well, sorry, we invested this. You got to find a way to play him somehow. And quite often, what do you find? What players always are the first out to be pushed out the door and are seen as the most expendable are the players that don't carry the sunk cost fallacy with them, and that is academy players. And that is what you will see at a lot of clubs, especially with this introduction of PSR and FFP, is that academy players are quite often going to be the fall guys for the way these clubs are run.
Let me answer this wedge in the comment here. So there's Bryce in the comments. He's commented 4 times today about Janine wanting a new kitchen because I made a joke the other day saying, I can't remember even what we were doing. Doing something because Janine wants a new kitchen, right? Which has been an ongoing joke for about 5 years, actually. And this guy, he's either got no mates or he's never heard a joke before. And he's really taking it to heart. But meanwhile, he's watching every video. So
thanks for support.
Nice one. Can I
get the super
put
chats.
the super chats up for us, please, Dej? And we'll go through them. If you go to viewer activity on another page and then slide that over, we can just see them all in one. Right, we got Ant there says, I don't blame Kobbie or Ruben. Kobbie is very talented, but if he doesn't fit, he doesn't fit. In a midfield 2, he's a 10 for me. In a 3, he'd be an 8. I don't know if I'd say he's a 10, but I know what you mean. I agree more or less that he'd absolutely be an 8 in a 3. I think he would suit a 3. You're only going to get a 3. Subtype says, the 2 in midfield experiment will cost us dearly. It can work in Portugal, but Premier League is far too competitive for that. Ruben will not change it. Do you want to do the next one? Or do you want to do the top one, Ronnie? Scroll back up.
Yes. X says, as players, surely you'd hate to play an Amorim system. No winger would want to be a wing back, and no midfielder would want to play as just a 2. Unfortunately, when you're paid what you're paid at the level of football you're playing at, you're not exactly going to like it, but I think players at that level have a little bit of versatility and adaptability to their game, but you might not necessarily get the best out of them, but it's not like they can't play it. But it is a very, very niche formation and system that requires specialists more than anything else, and that's why you're more likely to get a lot of players to struggle and don't. And it's just, I think the concern is when we look at the personnel we have and the players we brought in, there's very few players where you say, yeah, they suit this system more than they'd suit a traditional 4-3-3. But what can you do? You know what's mad? Cunha's probably looked like one of our more maverick, talented players in the first couple of games, and he's one of the players that suits the system more than anything else, because in a 4-3-3, he's not a natural 9. He prefers dropping in. If he's not a 10, say, you play him left wing. Out on a touchline for Cunha is not where you get the best out of him either. So
I think Mbuemo and Cunha, and even Sesko, the way he plays, will all benefit from being closer together rather than like how spread out you would be in a 4-3-3.
I think Mbuemo loves the touchline more, but he's still good enough to do this. Do you know what I mean? He's a touch. You notice he's more like of a touch and cross than a beat someone. Isn't he?
I don't know. I quite like him in that sort of half space running. Against Arsenal, he was running that sort of central line quite a bit, and I thought he looked pretty.
He was the outlet, though, wasn't it? Against. Yeah. I did think he'd have the better of Calafiori though when I did see that matchup.
Akash says, you can't ignore we have too many midfielders who don't fit the system, which makes me question the appointment of Ruben to start with, looking at you, Barada. Yeah, but you can't not appoint the manager that you want because the players that you currently have don't fit. Like, they always said 3 windows. He's had 1. Not even got to the end of 1 yet. Like, it was always going to take a while for him to get everything that he needs. They've addressed the forward line. We would all love a new midfield, but it's probably not realistic, is it?
I still think, you know what's the most damning thing, Steve?
Scroll for us, please, Dad.
I don't think there's any way to justify the whole we've not won a back-to-back Premier League game thing.
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And, mate, my heart goes out to my guy, the United Strand guy. It looks like a Grenadier Guard with his hair at the moment. Like, yeah. You ain't getting to that haircut, mate,
anytime soon from what I've seen. I think it's 5 games wins in a row.
Yeah, listen, I haven't spoken to the other lads about it, but I promise you, if United win 4 games in a row, we'll fly you out and you can be on the watch along for the 5th game with Paddock, but we're shaving you on air if we do. Is that fair? Someone clip that up and send it to him, please, because time we get in touch, we'll do that. If United get to 4 games, we're not getting. I
think he is a YouTuber though. If I'm not wrong, I think he is a YouTuber of some sort for himself anyway.
The Pickle though says all of Mainoo's good performances were in a 3, not a 2. Yeah, hang on, no, he had some good performances last season. He didn't start well last season.
Yeah. All right, so this is what's happened. This is what's happened. Like, people have gone like, obviously very, very pro manager, which is often the tendency in it when people get a bit hierarchical anyway when it comes to managing a football team. And I think United does have it in the fan base as well because of the kind of connection, almost like grandfather affinity we had with Sir Alex Ferguson for all those years. Is that I've seen a lot of fans like going mental gymnastics and going around the houses to kind of disparage Mainoo as much as possible, just to justify what Amorim's doing. And that's the bit that's kind of pissing me off a little bit, because just all they're talking about is all the things that he supposedly can't do, rather than all the talent and ability he does, just because they want to be able to justify what the manager's doing. And for me, if we're winning games and playing well, that's fair enough. But I've not seen anything since November to justify this kind of like incessant backing where you're kind of trying to like insult one of the best academy graduates we've had in years because of it. Do you know what I mean? And that's for me. That's in my opinion as well.
It's ED London says Kobbie to Palace on loan. Want to see him and Wharton as a pivot. That could be interesting. Palace are going to struggle, aren't they, if they get rinsed anyway?
They recruit too well. These clubs recruit well, man. I can't lie. People thought the same about Bournemouth, and they've started the season looking the exact same. Ant says,
give Kobbie a loan to find his true position. Problem is, though, if he goes and plays somewhere that plays a 3, which we know he can play, and then he comes back, he still doesn't actually know how to play in a 2. Doesn't necessarily benefit him. And Toxic United fan says, the more we watch United, the more Rashford's statement that our transition has not started feels true. Well, it's one of those things that you have to sort of say in hindsight. I think it feels like the transition started with Wilcox and Barada and Amorim's appointment. It started. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be successful, but I think it started. And it started with a lot of ostracising those players, whether it's Sancho, Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho. The way that they've bombed them out of the team, that feels different to what we've done previously.
Yes.
And they've obviously gone in big on a new attack. Like, I think you can say it's started for sure. This time it has. I think it was fair to say it hadn't started, because what had changed really with the previous sort of regime? We were just signing anyone with a big Instagram.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen someone there said Mainoo struggled athletically under Ten Hag in the midfield 3 as well. That is usually the reductive way people look at it when they think, because on the outlook Ten Hag's system was a 4-3-3, when really it wasn't, with like how he set up in and out of possession with the 3-1-6. We saw the gaping big massive holes that the midfield had to cover under Ten Hag. So you can't really just reduce it to, we played 4-3-3 and Mainoo struggled to cover distance as well. The distances were massive in that system as well.
Yeah, they were.
And it wasn't really a traditional 4 tight 3. It was like the whole thing in it about a 3-1-6, where it was just one single player in there having to do doggies. So I don't think you can kind of just reduce it to that either.
Jake says, Mainoo not fast enough for a midfield 2, not personal. Nightwing says, I find it unfair to judge Amorim based on last year when the board forced him to come with a change of system. I'm treating it as a brand new manager, 0-2. That's fine, you're allowed to do that, but Sky Sports and TalkSport and everybody else isn't going to do that. Like, they're always going to refer to his there's going to be scars. Just scroll up a little bit for us to get that previous one. There's one more I think there that we've not done. LDT says the media won't allow United manager the time that Klopp and Arteta had. 3 windows is the dream. The reality is he will be gone by November with this form. We don't know that, because we've never seen how Ineos treat their own manager, have we? And
I think Amorim will benefit from being what number is he in terms of gaffer appointments since Fergie, and I think he's also going to benefit and have the biggest, probably the longest leash any gaffers had at this club as well, because it's Ineos' first appointment as well. So they're always going to be kind of hesitant to admit that it's gone wrong if it does get to that stage. But also, because we've had 12 years of quite a few managers, it's not worked out. People want to make sure that they give a particular manager more time than the last. So it does seem like a bit of an easy job in that way, where I feel like if you're United gaffer in this current rebuild, when you come in, you're just going to be afforded as much time as possible no matter what happens, because the predecessor failed and people don't want to keep chopping manager. I still think that's not a good enough reason if you feel like it's not going well. But for me, obviously people do the whole Amorim thing. That's not the type of discourse I'm involved in. I just talk about whether the club or the team's playing well or not, and I still want to see more. It's obviously only 2 games in, but I want to see better signs, because what's annoying today, I was actually quite optimistic after the Arsenal game. I thought, and it was, the Fulham game was huge for me, because I went into it quite nervous, because I thought if United put up a good performance in today, in my head I'm gonna be like, yeah, could be something in it for us.
And the way we started, I was very, very happy. The way it ended, not so much. You'll not see me talking about sacking a manager, but I'm happy to talk about the things that I think he can improve. And there's a lot that I think he can improve. And there's things that have to be improved on a training ground. Things like set plays. I've been the manager of a team that was dog shit at set plays, and it used to do my head in.
Massive equaliser.
And then you go, right, guess what we're doing today, lads? And remember, we used to do it every Friday, didn't we? We used to do 20 minutes on set plays every Friday before a match because we were so bad at set plays. That's what you have to do.
Because you know what can happen, Steve, this season as well? Because it will become a time, it is Manchester United anyway, where results matter even more than performance. You want to see performance because you want to see something to get behind.
Yep.
But United are going to have games where we outperform the team, probably 1-0 up, 2-0 up, 2-1 up, performing really well where we should really win the game. And what's going to happen in one or two of these games? The other team's going to get a set piece, get a corner, swing it in, it's 2-0, it's 1-1, or we lose the game. And those are the margins that United can't afford, and that's why I know we do take the piss out of Arteta and all that when it comes to how much focus he put on set pieces and that. The reason why he did it is because, you know, when you finish second that many times and you get nearly that many times,
what can get me over the line?
What percentage can I get me over the line?
Absolutely crushed it on set plays. They have. Ant says the desire for instant gratification with a lot of our fan base is a big part of the problem now. It's a big part of the noise. Whether or not Ineos are listening to that, we will only know after that first sacking, won't we? And Averma says, and why should TalkSport opinion matter to Ineos?
All right, so to Anne L of the House of L of the desire for instant gratification comment. All right, so what do you class as the desire for instant gratification? Is it 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or is it a couple of months? Because I don't know what do you class as instant gratification? Like how long should we be patient and how long should we wait for? That's just a genuine question. I'm not like coming at you.
A Verma question for you there.
Ronnie, only doing a Mainoo talk to distract everyone from his boys, Dalot's Ash Young tribute. Classic deflection. Yeah, Dalot's my guy, but he's not played well for a long time, and his cameo against Fulham infuriated me. I'm not gonna lie to you. He just wasn't switched on from the moment he came on. Even the mistake he made for the goal wasn't the only thing that he did wrong when he came on. He felt like his touch looked off. He was frequently out of position. Yeah, so I can't back Dalot.
Right, we're gonna wrap it up there. Got a preview coming out probably about 6ish, I imagine, once it's done tonight. But cheers as always for tuning in. I'll be back out on a trail tomorrow morning. It depends. I've got a fitness class in 2 hours. So I don't know if I'm going to do what's on my program or if I'm going to make a shorter one and just do a 2 miler tomorrow. But what's on my program tomorrow is a 30 or 40k hike. So I'll have to see how I feel after that. But either way, I can drop a video while we're out on there. You lot seem to be enjoying the morning videos quite a lot, so nice one for tuning in on those. And then tomorrow, what have we got going out scheduled up tomorrow?
Obviously, review of the Grimsby game you're going to be doing.
What's the day?
We'll have maybe have a scout report going out as well.
And then Thursday we've got player ratings and all that good stuff. And then Friday we're back with our Premier League preview. Did you watch the game last night?
Yes, I did watch the game. I still think Liverpool look really vulnerable to me. I know St James's Park.
I thought they looked a bit scared.
St James Park away under the lights is it's not the best place to go. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know you won't admit it, but it's not great, is it? Especially the way I feel like when United go there in a night game, because I think we've got them in a night game away as well. With the animosity as well, it's not gonna be nice.
Anyway, cheers for tuning in. As always, take it easy, and we will see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it. Then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.